Ron and Ann here with a marriage moment. It's been said that the first duty of love is to listen. For many who struggle in marriage, communication is one of the first things to break down.
And as we know, listening is a big part of communication. But sometimes, especially after a conflict, the silent treatment kicks in and both of you are left guessing what the other one is thinking, and your feelings get all bottled up and the pressure on the cork increases.
Taking the time to calmly talk and carefully listen goes a long way in releasing that pressure and demonstrating that you place a high priority on your marriage.
Dr. David Augsburger, who is a professor of marriage counseling, said, being heard is so close to being loved that for the average person, they are almost indistinguishable. So that begs the question, how can I be a good listener?
First of all, make sure you're giving focused attention. There's a big difference between hearing and listening, isn't there? And honestly, this is something I've struggled with.
Yes.
Ann lovingly calls me a multitasker wannabe. It's hard for me to focus on more than one thing at a time, so while she starts talking, it's easier for me to slip into my nodding my head mode while my mind might be a million miles away. You guys know what I'm talking about.
And I often don't see it until he asks me a question about something I just said. That can be so frustrating.
Oops. We have the biological ability to tune out. Yeah. We can hear things but don't listen, like conversations on the radio in the background. Or we can choose to tune in. And this is important. Your spouse gives off the most important frequency around you. So dial it in. And through the years, I've gotten a bit better.
Yes, you have gotten better. And one thing that could really help in the listening process is ignoring your phone. Now, for a lot of people, that's a biggie. Those beeps and rings and notifications can come at the most inopportune moments. If you're truly engaged in listening to your spouse, you need to just let those go. Simply silencing your phone speaks volumes to your spouse about your priorities.
That's for sure. We need to reduce those interruptions. And speaking of that, we need to resist our urge to interrupt. Statistics show that the average person waits 17 seconds before jumping in. And usually we use those 17 seconds to think about what we'll say. So there's not a lot of listening going on there. What are you doing, counting?
Nothing. James in the Bible seemed to understand our tendencies when he wrote, you must be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Maybe that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Good point. And here's another idea. During the listening process, try to listen to the emotions behind the words. You know your spouse, and you can tell when there's something on a deeper level that she's really trying to say.
Quite often, the issue on the surface isn't really what needs to be discussed, and you can discover that by paying attention to her emotions while she's talking, and then asking her the deeper questions.
And that's why, guys, it's important that we don't immediately try to solve the surface problem. Right. We need to get to the bottom of what she really needs from us at that moment. And a good way to do that is to simply ask, say, honey, what do you need from me right now? And
girls, it is so tempting to get offended at that and say, well, if you really knew me, you wouldn't have to ask, and to just put up the stone wall. But you know what? Let's move past that. Let's meet him halfway. He's asking, so tell him.
So to recap, give your spouse focused attention, choose to tune in, ignore your phone.
Don't interrupt. Except for right now. Okay. Listen to the emotions behind the words and ask the deeper questions.
And then you're communicating heart to heart.
And remember, closer to God
means closer to each other.